Hello, everyone. The time has come to start. Are you my Overwatch players? Yes, thank you. My only two. Feels good. Hi, everyone. My name is Matilda Smidesen, and I'm here as the host, but I'm also voice actor in Overwatch, and I was really happy to have at least two people who knew what Overwatch is. Third person there. Look at me go. Our next speaker is Thorbjørn Nielsen. He's a game developer and co-founder of Guidelight Games, a studio that took home the title of Game of the Year at the Danish awards Spillprisen for their game SpellRogue. Thorbjørn is going to tell you all about the tools they developed, chose, and used for SpellRogue, and the lessons he learned along the way. Please welcome Thorbjørn Nielsen.
Hello. So, yeah, I'm one part of Guidelight Games, and I'll just talk to you about the tools we developed for SpellRogue and the lessons we learned along the way. So, first of all, I'm again one part of Guidelight Games. It's me and Tim Skafte, who's here in the audience. I'm the programmer on the team, and Tim is the artist, and then we work together on game design. So we made this game called SpellRogue, which started way back in 2020. We started working on our free time, and many years later, we released the game in 1.0 just a few months ago. So yeah, it's been great finally having this game out. So just a bit about SpellRogue. It started out as a much simpler game, just a very different game. You were a police squad of wizards fighting crime, basically. But over time, the game has developed quite a lot until what it is today. A much more deep and complicated game with a lot of mechanics. So yeah, in short, it's a tactical turn-based roguelike where you roll dice and spend them to cast spells. It's all about building powerful combinations of your spells and artifacts and all kind of other effects to just defeat your enemies. It can be described as a mix of Dicey Dungeons and Slay the Spire, if people know those games. That's a easy way to understand it. But again, it has a lot of unique mechanics that we added to it. You can see a bit in the GIF here. There's enchanted dice, there's spells that got debuffed, there's moving spells around, there's just a ton of things going on. So in general, it is just a very complex game with many moving parts that we created here. So the question I ask is, how do you manage such a big, complex game? And the answer we found was tools. Add a lot of tools to the game. And yes, this is actually a screenshot, a photo of how it looks while I'm designing games for one of the characters. It's just showing every single spell on the screen at the same time, along as a bunch of stats for everything. It has been a huge help in just being able to manage the complexity of the game, because there is just so many things going on. So just taking a quick step back, just the scope of SpellRogue. There is just a lot of content in the game. Right from the beginning, we wanted to have 4 different characters, an element, all the 4 elements, where each character has their own separate set of spells and mechanics. So it just means we need a whole lot of spells to actually make this, to make runs feel varied and just have a lot of different opportunities for making different builds. At the same time, we also just needed a ton of artifacts, adding like passive bonuses and just giving further ways to make the combinations. And of course, we need a lot of enemies to fight against. And there's just a ton of other stuff, potions and status effects and mutators and so many things that we just added over time that we just try to make the game better and better. There's just a lot of content to manage. Besides that, for a game like SpellRogue, balance is just really, really important. And a game like this, it's so much about having a selection of some spells or artifacts or whatever. And in these cases, it's just very important that decisions are actually interesting. It then always needs to be there should never be an option that is just always the right pick. There should always, every single spell should have its place. There's some case where that is actually the best spell. There should be opportunities to like pivot your build, to try something else. Times where just, that spell is good for a while, then you switch it out. So again, balancing the game has just been a huge center for us. It is really, really important. And again, every spell needs to have a use case. The way that we handle this is what I call in-project tools. It's basically just tools integrated directly into the project. Instead of having external programs to make the design, have everything inside the project. So in a minute, I'll just jump into what we actually have in the project. But first, just some background, how we set things up. So SpellRogue is made in Unity. And the way we have set everything up is that every single entity, every single spell, artifact, enemy, event, encounter, everything is a separate file, a separate scriptable object file, which is a concept in Unity, that you have these independent object data files that you can just keep in the project hierarchy. Besides that, we just have added a ton of custom UI for editing, like editing our spells or enemies, and for debugging, for simply being able to more quickly test things, see what's going on, debug issues going on. That was just a quick intro, but let's just jump into it quickly, see how it actually works. So first of all, inside Unity, I just want to show you how we can create a spell in the game. So I'll just add a spell here. Let's call it a Nordic Strike. Great name. I just pick an icon for the game, for the spell. And then I'll add a damage component to the spell. So the way all these effects are set up is just component-based. Everything just has a certain effect that you can choose between. So I choose a damage component, click the Generate Description button, and then we instantly have a preview of this spell. We instantly can just see this spell in action, how it will actually look in-game. This is a bit boring spell, so instead let's change it to actually scale with the dice result. So I add a dice result multiplier, and you can see instantly it updates the description as well. Change this. Let's also just say it's maybe just only 2 charges, only 2 times it can be used. And then very important here, we can just directly click on Test in Combat, and it will simply just load up a combat where you can actually try this spell we just created. If Unity want to play along, come on. There we go. All right. I don't know what happened. Cool. But now we have our spell here, and we can simply just start playing with it. A very nice feature in this as well is that we can, during runtime, we can simply just add another effect. So let's say we want to, instead of just damage, we add a apply status effects component, and we give it a poison effect. So now, just need to update the description. Now it also applies poison. It adds it to yourself, so let's just change that. If we want to do it on the opponent, I'll just change the description again. So now we have a spell that both deals damage and poison, and we can instantly just try it in game. Just to show one more thing, we can also add a requirement to this effect. It's a bit overpowered, it just always gives poison. So let's just say it only does poison if the dice result is a 1. So now, whenever you put a 1 in it, let's just see if we can get a 1. Oh, no ones. Okay, let's try again. No, it was 1. Okay. So now we put a 1 in it, then it adds the poison. That is all very useful. But just to jump into how something like poison is built. So again, poison is also just a scriptable object in the system. Again, you can also you can see the preview, exactly what the effect does. And it's, again, also built up from these effect components. So this component is on state change, so at the start of the turn, it has this effect that you lose life depending on how many stacks there is. There's 2 stacks, and it means that it'll lose 2 health at the start of the turn. So yeah, again, everything is just built up from these components. A nice feature that we have here under something like poison is that we actually see every single entity that also references poison. So there's a bunch of spells that has poison, and of course we can instantly just add these to our current game. So Poison Fling, we can add that. We can add the Focus Toxin spell as well. And again, we can just instantly play with those as well. We can also just jump into the enemies. So there's an enemy here that adds poison. And now I just opened one of our editors that is basically just a little bit better overview of all the enemies that we have in our game. And again, an enemy as well, it's also built up from the effect system. Everything in the game just uses this component system to build everything up, which just means it's very simple to make new content and just experiment with things. You just take different components, put them together in different ways, and yeah, you can try whatever you want. Yeah, so just a related thing. Let's say we are making this new poison spell, so we want to get a feeling of like what actually exists already. Maybe we don't want to add a poison spell because, well, we have too many poison spells. So a useful feature in this the spell editor, for instance, is we can just go in and search for poison. So we'll show every single spell that already have something with poison. So yeah, all these spells, you can just go through them and see exactly, and again, all built up from the component system. Some of them a bit more complicated. So yeah, that's one way to do it. But we can also go into the statistics view, which is a really useful tool as well, where we can, again, we see the same spells, and we can sort by rarity, by the dice slots. And very nice feature here that we also added is we're actually importing player data directly into the project, so we can see how well our actual players are performing with these type of spells. So we can see that some spells just has a very low win rate, which is just that spell if it has been a part of a lost game or one game. So yeah, some of the spells just, they are often part of a winning run, which can mean very many different things. You really need to kind of weigh this against other factors. So it's not always a clear thing that there's a problem here, but it's very useful to have all this data directly into the project. You can see exactly what's going on, and again, you can instantly just change it. I can just, okay, poison detonation is too overpowered. We can simply click on this and just make changes to it right away. You can also see some of these names are already in blue, which means we actually have changed them since our last update. So we have this patch note system on top of it that just tracks all the changes that have been made in the project. Right, so that is again very, very useful. We just see all the spells with that use this poison, but we also know that when we looked at poison, there's also enemies, there's also artifacts that also have something poison. So one of my favorite editor windows that I added is the Everything editor, which it basically shows every single entity in the game. So every single enemy, every single artifact, mutators, achievements, potions, everything that we have here. So, and this, of course, we can also just search for poison. We can just say, let's see all poison spells. So everything that has something to do with poison. So we see all the artifacts with poison, we see enemies. So using this, we can kind of, maybe we'll figure out, oh, maybe this new spell doesn't fit in this well because there's some balance, or maybe it needs to be a different rarity or whatever. This is a very useful tool to just create new content, design content that fits in with the existing synergies and just makes sense in the overall game. Because when you're just sitting adding new spell where there's already 80, 90 spells, things just become pretty complicated. So yeah, this is in general very useful tool. one more thing that I just like to show is just, again, as I showed in the photo before, when you're actually making new spells, when you're just sitting with a whole bunch of spells, it can be very useful to just see everything at the same time. Now I need to actually just click reload, otherwise I'm missing graphics here. So yeah, this view is just every single water spell in the game right now. We just have the, like for each box, different rarities, different types of spells. And this is what I use all the time when I'm making new spells, because it just gives this very clear overview. If you are trying to figure out how many poison spells is there, how many rupture spells, what is the cost of different spells, is there too many poison spells in common, maybe there needs to be something, there needs to be some utility spells, is rare spells balanced, how many is there? So yeah, again, drawing things directly in the project is just a great tool to edit it. And again, everything in this window as well, you can click on whatever you want here, and it will like open the editor, so you can instantly just edit these things and make changes to them. So yeah, that's the key part of this. So just one more thing, when we actually are in runtime, let's just jump into our new Nordic Strike spell, if I can find it. Wait, I put it outside somewhere. All right, we'll just take another spell, doesn't matter. But this is a bit more just showing off a cool thing. It's not directly related to the tool system, but we have this system where you can, this editor window that shows the exact animations that actually appear when you are performing an action. Because like the way SpellRogue works is that all the logic gets calculated instantly when you do something. When you fire a spell, it's fired instantly, and like one frame, and then it just plays the animation afterwards. So you can see every single animation that actually appears when you do this. The nice thing about this, having it split up in this way, all the logic is calculated directly, is that we have this feature that if you hover over the end turn button, for instance, you can see exactly what will happen. We will get 11 damage from these two enemies, or when you hover over something, I'll get 2 block when this happens. This is it gets very, very complicated when you have a bunch of artifacts and mutators and so on. There's a ton of things happening, and it just really takes some of the brain power from players not having to calculate, like the quite complicated mechanics that can happen. Another side bonus of this, that we have the whole battle, we can calculate outside runtime, is that we can, for instance, in the combat editor, which is just set up of different enemies, we can actually simulates the combat, so we can just see from their actions what is examples of what they can do. So yeah, this enemy just keeps growing, and he will just deal more and more damage. And yeah, this again has been a really useful tool for just again designing the game and just seeing the outcome of the game without having going to in-game all the time. Just making it easier to see your changes instantly when you make them, not having to go into runtime. And again, previewing everything. You also see the icons out here is like the actual group of enemies that we're drawing in this menu. So yeah. So again, this is just a short intro. I could spend a lot more time just talking about this, but let's just go back to the slides. So what did we learn from all this? There's some key takeaways that is definitely something that we will continue doing for our next project. There's some really great lessons, and that maybe some of you could use in the future for your projects. Has to be said that, of course, we are making a roguelike game with a ton of moving components. Maybe some of these lessons doesn't fit in every single game, but I think there's still some takeaways that I think is applicable to most games you can make. So first of all, in project tools, having those integrated tools into the game, because I feel like the normal way to design a game is just a spreadsheet. That's also how we started, of course. Just have everything in a spreadsheet. You import it and you export and whatever. But I don't like it. It's kind of bad. You're missing the context of what's going on. And compared to the in-project tools, it's much faster to iterate. You can instantly just make changes. You can test it right away. You don't need to deal with importing or exporting, have a good workflow for this. So yeah, you again test it instantly. And of course also just the fact that you avoid having duplicate data, that you don't have that external tool where there's data, and then in the project there's the other data. If you change one thing in one place, you need to make sure they are all always synchronized. It can definitely be done with a good pipeline, but I feel like it is much more error-prone than just having everything in one place. And of course, another advantage of this approach is just you can integrate it with like related data from the project. I mentioned this thing that some of our titles become blue when you have changes. In this case, there's also a U in front of the forbearance spells, which means it's an unlockable spell. So we have a unlock in the game that means you unlock the spell. Again, something that's very simple to implement when we already have all the data in the project, which would just be a lot more cumbersome if doing that in a spreadsheet and having that integrated as well. So yeah, moving on, another thing we really got a huge advantage of is just this thing of visualizing things outside runtime. So again, compare this to the spreadsheet where you're just looking at numbers, text in a spreadsheet. You don't have the context. You're missing what it actually means when you have those visual. The visual, how it actually looks in the game. It's much easier to connect it to what you're actually experiencing when you're playing the game. So just in this example, it's so much easier to just see, oh, there's a spell with weak, there's a spell with rupture, how many block spells is there, what is the cost of different spells. Just having that visually, it's just our experience. It has been a huge bonus. It's so much easier to just again, create interesting content, create synergies, make sure you don't end up with too many poison spells, have a good spread of different types of spells, and so on. And then the last thing, again, which is just something we did kind of late in the development cycle, is just integrating the player metrics. Our early approach, I think probably also a lot of players' approach, is just, oh, you're tracking some data, and you just have data about, oh, this spell, this rune has this and this win rate, and you don't have the context. You just have a name of something, and you need to like jump through some loops to figure out what does this actually mean in practice. Compare this to our approach, where we have it directly besides the actual spells, so you can instantly see, oh, this is a Anger Rune. It's a water type spell. Water type rune has this effect. You can see the win rate, and again, you can instantly change it. We can instantly go in and just say, oh, this. This needs to be 3 few instead. We can just change that instantly. There's no hoops we have to go through. Again, context available, very easy, very fast to balance. It's been a huge bonus to us. So finally, just some recommendations that we definitely give to both ourselves and to people that especially if you try to make a similar game, like complicated game with a big scope, try and reduce the design friction. It should be as easy as possible to make new content, edit content, and again, just going from the design to actual implementation, being able to test that. If you can make that as simple as possible, it just means you have the option of experimenting much easier, which just is a huge bonus. Besides that, just you need to also just spend some time working on the actual tools. It's very easy to make a tool that works for a few weeks, and then you make something new, and then it breaks. It is definitely something that has a cost, but it's something we decided is just really important, that all those test buttons and the editing of spells and everything, it needs to work. You need to maintain it, and you need to improve it over time whenever you find something that is slow, something that just doesn't work correctly. And then just conclusion. This is kind of my thesis of this whole thing. Good tools can lead to better games. Or more precisely, it has the potential to make better games. Because just because you have all this data doesn't mean automatically that it's become a better game, but you definitely have, when you have the opportunity of just quickly iterating, quickly experimenting with everything, there is just the potential that you will find things that you would otherwise not be able to. Again, fast iteration is just the key. And this is probably the main point of this whole talk, is just when you have this reduced design friction, when it's easy to experiment, it can mean that you can find new designs, you can discover new things that you just otherwise wouldn't do because it was too difficult to just try this thing. Where for us, it's so easy. You can spend an hour and make 10 new spells or artifacts, and some of them might not work, but you could just so quickly make them, throw it in a game, and just see, is this fun? Is there something here? Do we need to tweak it, quickly edit it, and again, get the overview of how does this fit in with everything else? And just, from our experience, some of our best ideas just came from this, came from playing around and just not sitting and writing design notes in a spreadsheet or a text document, just going into the project, trying things, playing around with stuff, and some great ideas will come out of that. But yeah, that is all I had said. So thanks for listening. Might be a bit on time. I guess I'll need to ask for questions. I'm not sure how this works. Anything? Go ahead. I don't know. Oh, you are. Yeah, I don't know how this works. Sorry, I'm just following.
My question for you is: I think there's a balance between developing tools and also working on the actual game, right?
Yes.
So. How did you make sure that you weren't spending more time developing tools than actually making the game?
It's a tricky balance. It's a tricky balance. Honestly, I think part of it for me is that making tools is often like a break for me. Like when I'm like stuck with a hard problem, I'll just make some tools instead. I'll just relax when making tools. I feel like to really get the most out of this, you kind of need to enjoy making tools. If it's the worst thing for you, it might not be the best approach. With that being said, I think there's still always a balance. Just having simple tools that just takes the worst pain points away from you is still worth it. It's that there's like small things you can do that can make a huge improvements over time. If you end up with like a 3-year cycle of game development, you can just save like a minute each day. That will definitely add up, even if, it seems not worth it spending a day or two on a tool. It can definitely pay off. So.
Okay, and my second question was, when you were working on the game, did you start in the beginning like, oh, we would need tools, or like you would see as it went on, like, oh, okay, this thing is getting out of hand, and we should?
No, like all these tools are something that slowly build up over time. It's definitely not something we started just having all these things. And again, I quickly mention as well, we also started with spreadsheets. We started with having spreadsheets and importing that into the project and editing them in the spreadsheet. And over time, we just figured out that this is causing problems. Why can't we just not do it directly in the project? So all of these things is just something that slowly develops over time. So it's definitely also something I would suggest. Don't start a project and say, oh yeah, I need all these tools. That's definitely not what I'm suggesting. It's just build it up over time. Whenever there's something where you have that friction, where things are going slow, see however you can speed it up.
All right, thank you.
Of course.
Thanks for the talk.
Thanks.
Did you ever find yourself in a situation where you wanted to add a feature, but the component system or the tools didn't really support it, and it might have restricted your process? Yeah.
Definitely. So the component system I talked about, it's very, very powerful. There's a ton of things you can try out, but it definitely also has some limitations. And there's been many cases where I had to go in and write a very specific effect just for this one spell because we really felt like we needed that. Again, something I didn't get into, but a big part of the reason why I made this whole component system to begin with was to allow Tim, which is not a programmer, to also be able to design spells. So if it was just only me that made it, I would probably be more code heavy and have it less component based. But yeah, it definitely has some disadvantages, that approach.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm also a tools programmer myself, and I made tons of editor tools for my school project. But whenever I make a new one, I post it into the Discord channel, write a Notion page about it, but most of the time I still saw my teammates not using them at all, which makes me super frustrated. So may I ask, how do you document or write the manual for your tools, or how do you teach your team to correctly use the features?
So I think I have the advantage of Tim always just hassling me if something is not working. If there's a tool that is not working, or if he finds a problem with it, he will tell me right away. We also have like daily meetings. We spend a lot of time just talking about what doesn't work. But it's definitely also something I would suggest. Just spend time listening to your team. Anything that like if you find out that they're not using the tools or they're using them wrong, or again, if they're just something that is spent more time on than they should, have those discussions and see how you can help them and fix the tools that are not working. That is, very important point. All right. Anything else? Oh. Well. But I guess that's just it for me. What do you do? All right, I got a thumbs up over here. So thanks so much.